y'all, it's Ejanae.
And it's Kimberly,
and welcome to Season 1 of Sonder Session Studio. This is where deep thoughts meet real laughs, hard feelings meet open arms, and life just gets to be life.
We ask questions, we stretch thinking, and we sit with nuance. We will feel, laugh, and learn together.
So let's sit back, relax, and get into it.
Hey guys, so on today's episode, we're going to talk about family bonds and relationships, and more importantly, is blood thicker than water? You know the saying where they say blood thicker than water, blah, 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 blah. I have a lot of takes on that. I'm betting you do too, and as does she. So we're here to talk about it today.
Yes. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the differentiation of the phrases. So obviously we all know the phrase blood is thicker than water, but the coined original phrase is, and I quote, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So I think that people have obviously used blood is thicker than water to talk about how family means more than chosen bonds per se. But I think it's very interesting that the full phrase kind of tells you that your chosen family, or the people who you choose to congregate with and be with, is stronger than the water of the womb, which how I'm reading that is like your family, of course, because obviously, you know, I'm not saying don't love your family, love your friends more than your family, but at the same time, I think you should respect your friends and your chosen family to the same retrospect.
Hi. LOL. I meant regard, not retrospect. Bye.
You do that of biological bonds.
Yeah, I agree. And oftentimes, chosen family, I think there's still a special bond in having chosen family. I think it's who you chose. I think for me, growing up, I didn't really have a lot of family members. So a lot of the family that I have now is definitely my chosen family. And I think it's because I chose them that it's a stronger bond, at least for me personally. I know some people disagree, and I don't, want to take away from the bond of family and biological family. There's something there, biology, of course. But I think chosen family is sometimes just as important, if not more, to some people. So the whole thing of blood is thicker than water, I wish more people used the full quote, because then it would really give a better picture onto just bonds in general and how that looks like for everybody.
Some people have thought that the phrase blood is thicker than water may be manipulative or not coerce, but I know as of late there's been a lot of no contact with parents and siblings and family members and whatnot. And a lot of people are saying that, I think our generation, they love to say that we are really bad at like keeping bonds together and like we don't care about each other and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are very willing to discredit what others went through under the guise of family or whatever, and be like, okay, well, that's your family at the end of the day, like that's your blood. But at the same time, that discredits the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that you have put into your chosen bonds and your friendships to curate a safe place for you and your loved ones to just really fully be who you are.
Yeah, and I think also too, blood is thicker than water. Yeah, but it also stains more too.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
real poetic. All right,
yeah,
now.
it's not fun when you have a blood stain on a white T-shirt or on a shirt in general. I think it could easily be seen as manipulation, because sometimes it is. I think it's easy to be like, well, blood is thicker than water. Good for blood. What does that have to do with anything else and your mistreatment and maltreatment towards me? And I don't think that blood being thicker than water should be a pass to like, oh, you get to do whatever you want. It's just a simple observation. Oil is thicker than water either, but you don't want to lather yourself around with oil. Imagine how that feels trying to wipe that off. Yeah, so imagine how it feels trying to clean off the blood and clean off the pain and the trials and tribulations that your family puts you through. And I think oftentimes the pain, the trials, and the tribulations that your family puts you through are oftentimes the hardest ones to come or overcome or to deal with as well. So it definitely can be seen as manipulation, and I think it's important now too as adults and just thinking about our own familial issues to really thinking about that, and just, yeah, we may be blood related, but that doesn't excuse you doing whatever you want to me, and more importantly, doesn't excuse mistreatment.
Exactly. So today we're going to be discussing 3 different types of bonds. We're going to be discussing familial bonds, romantic bonds, and platonic bonds. And we're going to be discussing them in different retrospects. So first, we're going to start off with choice versus obligation. With familial bonds, there's this air of respect because, that's your family. You're supposed to be willing to tolerate more than you do from your friends. And so let's talk about choice versus obligation. I know it's very interesting, especially with, I think, us specifically being children of immigrants as well. We have that extra layer of quote unquote obligation, whether it be to take care of your family members or be there regardless of like whatever's going on in your life. It's just a very interesting dynamic, I would say, to always have that expectation, but especially as a younger person in the generation, I would say, because I'm just not sure if I would say the older generation has that same retrospect for us.
Hi. LOL. I meant regard, not retrospect. Bye.
What do you think?
Retrospect meaning like
Like,
obligation to us?
yeah, I feel like they feel like we have an obligation to them, but do they feel like they have an obligation to us?
I think there's a level of entitlement that a lot of, I can't speak for all cultures, but I'm just speaking for Haitian parents. They definitely have audacity and they do feel like they're entitled to certain things. I know for me, I think at least my mom, but I would say this is mostly all Haitians, they expect to kind of be entitled to their kids' money, to their kids' time, to their kids' energy without consequences or without boundaries or without moderation. I think they kind of think that they are entitled because they did the raising and they did the sacrificing, as if I asked you.
But it was like, I always ask this question, like, who else is gonna do it? Like, genuinely, you want to have a kid, you had a kid. Like, who else's responsibility is that if not yours?
Right. I think when it comes to obligations that kids have for their parents, I will say as a Haitian American, I do feel a lot of that obligation. And I will say it is a driving factor in a lot of the things that I do, just making sure that I take care of my family and stuff. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it does kind of give me that kind of drive to do the things that I want to do and the things that I want to achieve in life. But I could definitely understand where a lot of people's issues come from with that. And also, too, I don't think you have to be obligated. It's very simple. I think we understand how things are formed and we understand why people act the way they do, but you get to define your choice and whether or not you want to partake in these kinds of systems and dynamics. You don't have to choose to be a part of the systems and dynamics that were set up by your parents. You get to choose.
I feel like a lot of people feel like they don't have a choice, though, to be fair, especially when they're like, I guess, living within their circumstance of said exclusive household and things like that.
I'm telling you, you have a choice. You may not feel that way, but you definitely do have a choice.
Do they? You know, I'm not super religious. I know I don't have a choice but to go to church every single Saturday living in my father's house. Every single Sunday living in my father's house.
Living in your parents' house, yeah, I think that's different.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, while they're still living within the environment. Like,
guys,
yeah.
Please don't do too much.
When you're like, I'm telling you have a choice, I was like, wait, but I'm not sure if they all have a choice.
No, I'm sorry. Don't do too much when you're living in your parents' house. Please.
That's what I was saying. Like,
but I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things,
mercy,
as how you live your life as an adult.
Yeah.
When you eventually depart, when you eventually leave your parents' house, when you eventually leave that, you learn that you get to decide what of that you want to take and what of that you want to keep. Those obligations that your parents have on you, your family has on you, you can decide whether or not you want to partake and you don't. I think for me, I've thought a lot about it and I think I'm okay with partaking in them. I think that's very controversial for a lot of people. I appreciate my culture and I appreciate the things, even the things that I don't like about it, because it is my culture at the end of the day. And I think if you're going to be one for the people and one for the culture, you have to accept it through and through. So I partake in it because I don't have an issue with partaking it, but I understand why a lot of people don't. And as an adult, you realize that you have the choice whether or not you do and you don't want to, and you don't have to. You really don't. They might think you're obligated, but that doesn't mean you are. And there's a beautiful thing called choice, and you get to choose what you want to do.
Okay, so next let's get into romantic relationships and how they're prioritized.
They're prioritized because everyone wants to be loved and to find love. I think romantic relationships are the most special of all of our relationships because I think it's the one where most people find the most fulfillment.
I agree.
I don't know why that is. I really, really don't.
Because people don't feel, a lot of people want to feel picked and loved by like one person. That's what I think. I think when you have friends, when you have family, like it's really, I mean, it's like an only child, but it's never only just you. Like your love is always being split. Your time is always being split. Whatever's always being split. Typically, romantic love is supposed to be like your other half. So they should complete you. In theory. Y'all, a lot of y'all not with your soulmates, no shade.
Yeah, I mean,
in real life.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that ideal as well. I just wish more people understood that there's so much more to life than romantic relationships. And what's odd is that they are prioritized, but they're the most fleeting of all of the relationships you have. I mean, listen, I have my qualms with family, but
honestly, you have to agree. I think in today's day and age, I think platonic relationships are the most fleeting. I think people don't value their friendships at all. I think, if anything, people value their relationships over their friendships.
Right. I think for me, though, that's not the case. I think for me, my friendships are the most long lasting. And even then, I would argue that friendships may be fleeting, but not to the same extent as relationships. I feel like it's so easy to get someone. It's so easy for your friends to know who you are as a person versus a romantic partner, especially in the way that we date nowadays. We have Hinge and we have Tinder and we have other dating apps where the goal isn't to get to know each other. The goal is to get into a relationship. You meet someone, you have 3 months to close it off. You meet someone, you need to check this box and this box and this box. Versus with friendships, there's an organic dynamic with that where you are organically learning to love someone as they are. And I think it is unfortunate in a way that relationships are prioritized over friendships, because I do feel like the people who will know you the most are your friends in the long run, unless you are the lucky person who found your person and found your other half. But we are learning in this day and age that isn't really something that our generation seems to have the facilities for. So yeah.
That's true. And on the topic of platonic relationships, let's talk about them. I don't know, like I do. Oh, what? I do think I actually do disagree with you. I don't know. I think a lot of people do put it above it. I think
Put
your
what,
friends
friendships above romantic relationships?
No, the opposite. I think relationships over friendships. I think although your friends typically do know you the best, I think the average person is overly willing to let their friend go to be with a partner.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. When I said that relationships are fleeting, they're fleeting because they don't last long. I think the average relationship lasts, what, like 2 years or something like that? They don't last.
In this day and age, baby, they're not even lasting past a month and a half.
Right. Like romantic relationships don't last long, right? But let's just say if you have a friendship that's fleeting, a close friendship that is fleeting, you probably got 10 years out of that good friendship, 5 years out of that good friendship, 3 to 5 years out of that good friendship, where they're getting to know you in an authentic way, where you aren't trying to put on a show or a facade to get them to like you.
I don't know, honestly, because one of my friends was funny. We were having this conversation and she was like, this girl and her are trying to become friends or whatever, and she's like, oh, she's cool, she likes her, but she can't like she's basically cosplaying like social media as her personality. I think a lot of people do lack authenticity.
Oh, for sure.
As well. So I think that
for sure, but I think that's a different conversation, because if you lack authenticity, then no one's ever going to really know you except for you. And
yeah, but that doesn't mean that you won't have friendships though and friends as well. I think that's the thing. I think there's a lot of people who think that they know their friends, or they think that they know this person, but they don't, because they haven't put any actual like effort into like prioritizing those relationships.
I definitely agree, but I think in that conversation, if they are putting on a facade with their friends, with everybody, then they're going to put on a facade in their relationship. So unfortunately, that's a problem that they're just going to have to deal with.
But some people think their facade is their life.
Right. And
yeah.
That's going to be tragic for them.
Yeah.
I think the idea is with all of our relationships, we just want people to really understand who we are as people, and we want them to love us in that understanding. And I think that if you are unable to be authentic in any of your relationships, then you are never going to get the fulfillment you look and you seek for in them, because no one ever knows you as you. They know you as the facade or the persona that you decided to put on with that person. And I think when it comes to platonic bonds, at least speaking for myself, I think I have been able to be the closest to people with platonic bonds. And I was just having a conversation with someone about this, about how, at least with my romantic relationships, I do want to try to approach them as friends. And I think with the institution of romantic relationships now, it's very hard to kind of create that close bond, because people don't really try and get to know people the same way. It's always about like, hey, well, they don't know you. If they don't like you in 3 months, that's because they didn't like you at all. Well, God forbid, I just need a little bit more time.
I don't know. To me, I think honestly, I don't know if I like somebody after like a week. I think 3 months is a long time to still be like iffy about getting to know somebody.
No, not getting to know somebody. But I think it just depends on what your intentions are for dating. Like when I think of getting into a romantic relationship with someone, I think of like this person, like we're gearing up to be married in a few years, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really hard to be
married.
Yeah, like when I'm in a relationship with someone, at the idea.
So you do want to get married?
I never said I didn't want to get married.
What?
I never said I didn't want to get married.
I feel like I'm being gaslit.
Girl, that's a different topic. I mean, I guess we're talking about relationships. I never said I didn't want to get married. I just said that I don't think that most people take the institution of marriage seriously enough for me to ever feel comfortable being married with someone in this day and age. It's the same thing where you said that you have very strict standards, and because of that, you tend to not give people the time of day because of that.
I didn't say that. I said I will give you get one time of day. You're not going to get multiple times a day to be fucking around here, man.
Right. I think for me, when it comes to marriage, like it doesn't take me 3 months to realize I like someone, but it definitely.
Wait, so what was the 3 month thing you were saying?
Like the idea is that if you're not dating in a relationship within 3 months, then they don't actually like you.
What the fuck are you doing for 3 months? No, what are you doing for 3 months? Like you guys after 3 months of what? Talking?
Yeah.
Are you dating? So what does that mean? Like just talk, like. Okay. Yeah.
What?
I wouldn't think they liked me either. after 3 months of talking to somebody. I don't like the way we date, but that's a whole.
I don't like the way we date either. I
That's a
don't
whole
like the way we
conversation.
date either. Though. Yeah, I think when it comes to relationship bonds overall, I personally really do heavily emphasize my friendship bonds. I think that they're very important. I think that the relationships that I've cultivated friendship wise mean a lot to me. More importantly, we talk about wanting a village, not being a villager, things like that. And I think your partner isn't your village, it's your partner. I think a village is the people and the connections that you make along the way, and you can't do that if you're only prioritizing your romantic relationships, because then what happens when you no longer have that? And I think also
That's
too,
a common thing that happens. A lot of people end up deading their friendships because this or that and that, and then they end the relationship. At the end of the day, they have no friends. They want to come back, and it's like, well, you didn't want to be my friend because you preferred to be that person's partner. It's like, well, sit with that.
and you want to know what else too, you want to know the first thing that manipulative abusive men do or women do when they're in a relationship with someone and they isolate them. That's the first thing they do. They isolate them away from their friends and they isolate them away from their family. And I wish more people really sat with that and asked the question why. And I think that I don't know. I think that our generation is too comfortable.
Everybody wants control in some aspect of life, basically. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Everybody wants control in their life, and if they can't control their life, they're for sure going to try to control somebody else's life.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
how I feel, at least.
You know, and I think for me, chosen family has become extremely important because I've chosen my own family because I didn't have any. And I think, like, I have two sisters. They're not blood related. It's a very complicated story every time I explain it to people, but they, for all intents and purposes, are my sisters. I describe them, hell, we kind of even look alike. We're built the same. We look alike. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think there's genuinely a beauty in kind of having that chosen family that I think a lot of people don't really think about. And to kind of bring it back to the whole blood is thicker than water thing, it may be, but man, is water very good for you. Man, is water very good for you. And I've been able to really cultivate.
I'm sorry, you fried me so bad.
No, I think chosen bonds are just as important as familial ones. I think that thinking about those of us out there who maybe were adopted or those of us out there who don't have bigger families. I grew up really wanting a huge family and I thought I would never get one until I learned that I could just make my own. And I have.
Fuck.
It's great. I like it here. Yeah.
Hey. Okay, period. Now that we talked about choice versus obligation, let's discuss boundaries versus access and how we view them differently amongst familial relationship and platonic views. So, boundaries when it comes to family. I think family are the people who will press your boundaries the most with the least given respect.
Matter of fact, let me rephrase that. Family are the ones who will disregard your boundaries the most.
Or
There we
she
go.
said they don't give up.
You have a boundary? Oh, no. Actually, arguably, I would say, as at least with Haitian family, boundaries don't even exist. Why would you have boundaries? I'm your mother. Why would you have boundaries? I'm your sister. I'm
It's
your father,
always
I'm your
that.
cousin.
I'm family, I'm family, I'm
Boundaries,
family.
I'm family. I think a lot of the time, family thinks that they're allowed to act with unchecked power simply because you're blood related. That is not how it works. You can't just have unlimited, unfiltered access free of charge as if I'm just some random person you can walk all over. Boundaries with families practically don't exist. And if they do, you had to go through hell and high water just to enforce them properly.
Mind you, they're probably calling you an ingrate behind your back too.
There you go. Yeah,
like they are. They're like this ungrateful child. You know, I've done all of this. What do you mean? What do you mean I can't call you after 10 p.m.? Yeah. Baby, D&D is on. I'm sorry.
God forbid you have a little bit of a degree of separation and I don't know, self-value
and it's like literally they're actually too funny.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's talk about how access is earned for romantic partners versus platonic partners. Because this is earned, it's typically not given, as you know. Interesting.
Do you think family is given access?
Yeah, like
it's implied.
Mm-hmm.
Access is implied with family. I think everywhere else it has to be earned or given.
That's so sick, high key.
No, I actually, it is sick, but I understand it in a way. It is sick, but I do think that everyone deserves, needs to earn their access. And
yeah.
I'm very big on people earning their access to me. I've been trying to lax up on that a little bit because people say it's a little bit too rigid, and I'm learning the hard way that maybe I was right in my dealings and right in my approach.
Too rigid doing what?
Access.
Yeah, but what do you mean? Like, what was too rigid?
The way that I like basically had sealed closed like aluminum doors or like metal doors that like you had to go through a lot to access. I didn't trust easily. I didn't give people access easily. I wasn't that vulnerable easily. Like I had a rule where it's like I wouldn't give everyone hugs. Like, I don't know you from Adam. Why are you giving me a hug? My friends can give me hugs. My family can give me hugs, but I don't know you from Adam, so why are you touching
Literally,
me?
I hate being touched. We
So,
don't even ever hug, barely. Do we hug?
mm,
No, we barely
rarely.
hug.
But like that's what I'm saying when it comes to access. I think I was overly rigid with the kind of access that I gave to people that it was very hard for people to even access me in the first place.
Really? That's so interesting.
I think now though I'm trying to be less rigid, but I'm starting to realize that maybe I was kind of correct in my approach. But that's a conversation for another day.
LOL. Yeah.
I think
Ooh.
there's a reason why I had that approach in the first place because
Mhm.
when you give people unchecked access, then things become unclear and harder to deal with. And I think people need to earn certain levels of access through time. And that's kind of what I said before about like not about not knowing if you like someone within 3 months, but just knowing if this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with in 3 months. Obviously, you don't need to know that to date them, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I low key feel, I know it's crazy, but I genuinely feel like I can decipher that shit in like 2 weeks. I genuinely do. I don't know. I feel like, but also I've spoken. Okay, so what type of dates do you go on? So when I spoken to my friend, and I was talking about the dates I've been on, whatever. All the dates I've been on have been like just uber fucking long, and it's just like
Mine have been very long, too.
talking forever. So it's just like once that starts, that's fine, and I can like I don't. I feel like 3 months is a long time to, for lack of a better word, to waste on feeling. I feel like I feel like to me, it would feel like that. I feel like 2 weeks. I know.
I have a
I
question.
genuinely. I don't know. I feel
What's
like
the difference between being in a committed relationship with someone and just dating them? If you're dating someone
being in a committed relationship versus dating
no,
somebody. Well, because
no. If you're dating, so for example, if you start dating someone within 3 months, right,
okay,
of knowing them,
Mhm.
committed relationship, what in 3 months have you learned that would possess you to want to do that with that person
to date them.
in a committed relationship? I mean,
What do you mean? Like, are you like?
let me ask for
Is it like
starters.
going from dating to being boyfriend and to being
Yeah,
like partners?
yeah.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah.
saying what in 3 months would I need to be like, oh, you can be my partner?
Yeah.
I feel like solid communication is something that's really easy. That's like my deal breaker. I think that's what it is, and I feel like a lot of people are shitty at communication, and they're too eager to blame it on their circumstance versus being like, I was just a shitty communicator. I'll try to do better. Everybody's always just saying that they're going through everything in the world, and it's like, okay, everybody's going through everything in the fucking world. No shade, like really no shade, no shade. So I think that's an easy one for me to dead that because a lot of men are poor communicators. A lot of men aren't. They don't have anything to talk about. If I'm on a date with you, am I asking all the questions? Are you asking all the questions? Like that's an easy dead that. Are you? Can I see that you're considerate? Like, can you see that I'm considerate? Can I see that? Can I see that you have something to talk about? I just feel like there's a lot of qualities. I want somebody who's funny. I'm funny. If you're not funny, if you don't make me laugh, I don't want to. I don't. There's a lot of things I don't want. So I think that's what it is. So it's so much easier for me to like weed it out. I think there's more things I don't want than I do want.
I think for me,
or I see the qualities I don't like more often, and it's like, from what I know, like it's just not enough for me to already be like, okay, let's be like, okay, this is good enough. This is good enough. I don't want good enough.
I don't know. I think the only reason why my views on this have changed a little bit is because I think relationships, romantic ones, are very sacred. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I
no, I
think for
agree.
me, my hope is that like I just find the one and we get married and call it a day. I know
Hello.
that we live in a generation in which like you can just date and try again, and you can just date and try again, and I get that, and I participate in it because that's just the society we have. But realistically, if I want to find my soulmate, I don't know if I can do that in 3 months. Like, of course, again, I participate in the culture because it's the culture, but like,
are you? Wait, I wasn't saying like 3 months and I'll be married.
huh?
Oh, I'm lost.
What
do you mean? Your soulmate in 3 months?
No, I'm just saying, okay, right? A lot of people, the idea is you start talking to someone, and with 3 months, you guys are dating boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right.
Now, because I don't care to be in a gazillion relationships just for me to find the one, I would hope that the boyfriend and girlfriend that I have, or the girlfriend that I have, is going to be my wife. That is my hope.
Valid.
So because when I think about that in dating, and when I go into dating with that in mind, for me, the idea of like in 3 months, that person is like, you're going to figure out if that person is wifey material. It's a bit hard for me to conceptualize that. And I think the only reason why my opinion on that has changed is because I think for me recently, when you know someone for over or almost a decade, and this person knows more about you than anyone knows about you in the planet, and yet still this person still could have disappointed you, and it wasn't because I didn't know that this person had these qualities, it's because I chose to ignore them. It's one of those things where it's like, if I knew someone for 10 years and I chose to ignore the qualities that were sitting right in front of my face, imagine all the things that I'm ignoring in 3 months because all I want to do is say that I'm in a committed relationship.
This is why I be dead in that shit in a week and a half. I'm seeing one thing I don't like, I'm really okay, and it's if that's me being avoidant, I might have to stick with that.
That's my thing. Like, and here's the thing. I think
I'm
a lot
okay
of
with
people,
living like that, though.
I think a lot of people take what I'm saying as, oh, you don't like commitment, and it's not that. Like, and the problem is, I think I take dating too seriously, and because of that, my timeline is far more extended than most people. And I think it's because I don't like.
Oh, you do take it seriously.
I take it very seriously, and
I'm relaxed with it, y'all.
I'm trying to learn not to. That's why I said before about access, where I recently just gave someone more access than I usually would, because I'm trying not to take it seriously. But I'm realizing now there's a reason by my design. I think I'm a very intentional person with dating, and because of that, most people date very unintentionally.
They
so
do.
They smack it.
All right. So let's talk about familial replaceability versus permanence. So obviously, family is seen as permanent, and harmful behavior is obviously often tolerated. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how it's very common to see, like I said, a lot of people are going no contact with their parents, whether it be for physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, no matter what it is. Let's talk about why we are, or why we value family enough to disrespect us, but we don't value ourselves enough to
because
respect
blood
ourselves.
is thicker than water.
Oh, brother.
That's
now we're
why.
back to this phrase, nor. Okay, but how do we counteract that, though, genuinely? Harmful behavior with your family. Because me personally, like I said, I'm very pro-conflict. Like, I'll go head to head with my dad, with my mom. Like, I never cared. Like, we will have that conversation.
I think it's because when someone is your blood, you think that no matter what happens, they'll always have your back at the end of the day. And because we expect that from them, they expect it from us. It's almost like a...
I've never had that, like, belief. Well, no, I've never had that belief, but that's just not... I don't know what my beliefs are when it comes to, like... I don't know. To this specifically. I feel like I'm very lax when it comes to, like, this. I don't know.
I think it just depends. I think when you ask the question, why do we accept the kind of treatment we do from our parents, I think, or from our family, I think it's oftentimes we know it's because blood is thicker than water. They will always be there at the end of the day.
Do you think family is permanent?
No.
Me either.
I don't. I've experienced what it means for family not to be permanent. I have a lot of blood that isn't there. So blood is a lot of things, but it doesn't really mean much. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, like, it's kind of that unconditional love kind of aspect. I think.
Oh, everybody's saying unconditional love is a bunch of BS.
It definitely,
whether it comes from family, friends, whoever.
I think by definition, it's BS, but you can forcibly apply it, and I think that's what a lot of family members do, where they just kind of accept things. It's like, oh well, we're family, so it doesn't matter. That's not unconditional love. That's just accepting mistreatment and maltreatment and just learning to deal with it. And people do that all the time very easily. That's not by definition unconditional love, and I think that's why people get confused.
Okay, and then romance, on the other hand, is not permanent, more conditional. So basically, how you treat them. Oh, that's a lot, though. But I feel like that's how everything should be.
What do you mean?
Basically, so I guess it's kind of like, oh, you treat me bad. Oh wait, I don't know actually.
What do you mean?
Kind of like you treat me bad, and I'm. You know when like you treat them bad, they give you the silent treatment. It's like all this like long, always having to make it up to them versus like a family member genuinely. 9 times out of 10, they're not apologizing to you.
It's because you expect it.
Okay, but then romance is treated as conditional. So how does that go about?
Because we're talking about the whole point of this was talking about the difference between chosen family and our biological family. That's because it's all implied. But with biology, all of that stuff is implied. You don't have to choose anything because it's all, the choice is assumably already made for you. In fact, you have to choose to opt out of the choice that's already been made.
Okay, but what about like in the romantic sense though, with it being conditional?
Well, in the romantic sense, it is conditional because the bond isn't implied. You have to find it. You have to seek that out yourself. Basically, with your family, you know them from the minute you're born to most likely the minute you die. The bond is already implied. With relationships, you have to seek out that bond. Therefore, you're automatically making a choice. Therefore, when you seek out that bond, you are making a choice in which bond you want to seek out and how you want that to look like for you.
Do you think it's fair to have behavior constantly evaluated while being in relationships? Like, how often would that be? Like, how does that look? Like, what if somebody was kind of like, almost like that whole thing we were talking about when they were like, oh, you do this, that, and the third to me, but you have no examples of it.
What do you mean? Should behavior constantly like be evaluated?
Like, how would that make one feel? You think, like, how would you feel if you were, because like family is expected, so they're supposed to love you however, whenever, but like romantic, I think, are probably the most conditional relationships. Like, I feel like friendships, people are willing to stick it out for like but they're willing to dead a relationship over certain things.
I think it depends on what kind of romantic relationships we're talking about. If we're talking about boyfriend and girlfriend, then yeah, for the most part, you're going to constantly be vetted until you're married.
Okay, and what about like husband and wife?
Husband and wife, I think oftentimes it's implied that they're going to stay forever until they can't.
You think so?
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I think that's how most people take marriage, right? I would hope, fingers crossed. But I think for the most part, a lot of people who marry, it's because you spend all of the relationship vetting them, testing. You would hope, and then
Ooh, how do you feel about testing and really? I think that. What do you feel about? How do you feel about that? Like testing people.
Don't ever do it.
It's weird, right?
Don't ever do it to me. That's all I have to say.
Oh, you say don't ever do it to me. I thought you say don't ever do it in general.
No, don't ever do it to me.
Don't ever do it in general, y'all. It's real weird, real childish. If you want to have a conversation, open your mouth, talk, please. Use sense, please. I beg.
Creating fake scenarios just to test out a particular outcome, am I some type of science experiment to you? Wrap it up. Don't ever do that to me.
Sending a random girl to hit on your man to make sure he's not going to cheat on you. Maybe you don't trust that man.
That's signs of deep mistrust and issues that I have no interest in partaking in. Double
exactly.
It and give it to somebody else.
Exactly.
When it comes to relationships, families, the bond is already implied, and because of that, people don't really care to. You have to opt out of that bond, not opt in. Relationships, you have to opt in, and I think that's the difference.
Wow. Okay, and then for friendship, I feel like a lot of people, I think we've discussed this, like I've said it a lot, a lot of people do treat friendship as optional, or friendship is just not valued as high as I feel like it should be in this day and age, considering most people lean on their friends. Their village happens to be their friends. Like a lot of people's village, I feel like these days it's not their family, it's not their partners, it really are their friends, people from they've known since childhood, or maybe like chosen family, things like that, maybe some cousins here and there as family, but it's like I wouldn't say a lot of people's village are their actual family. So I find it very interesting that friendship is deemed as optional a lot of the times when those are the ones that we should revere the most.
I agree, and I would probably say, to be honest with you, none of these things are optional. Not family, not romance, and I guess romance.
No, I think friendship is treated as the most optional out of these relationships.
I'm saying for me personally, I don't think family is optional, and I don't think friendship is optional either. I guess relationships can be optional. I've seen it being optional before, but I personally don't think the other two are optional. I think that science has backed this up. History has backed this up. Human behavior has backed this up. We need connection.
No, not that they're optional to have, that we treat them as optional.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying I know how we treat them. I'm saying that they are not optional.
Okay.
I'm saying that a lot of people treat them as optional, but they don't realize that you cannot really survive as a human being or thrive as a human being without connection. And it doesn't always have to be romantic, and that's the problem. People assume that they can live a happy life and only have their partner. I guess you can live whatever version of a happy life is defined by you if you find that to be happy, but at the same time, humans need connection in order to survive. Every study every study about it, everything about it, anything you read about it, there's not one thing that says on the contrary that it's not necessary. And oftentimes, not everyone's going to find love.
That's so sad.
Not everyone's going to find the great love that they want for themselves, and it happens to the best of us.
I don't think that's true. You think so? Well, your great love is supposed to be yourself, boo. Sadly, so love yourself, boo.
I don't think there's soulmates. I don't think everyone finds their soulmates. I mean, even if soulmates do exist, which is a whole different conversation, I don't think everyone.
I think there's so many different types of soulmates that people like, quote unquote, have platonic, relationships. So I think there's a lot of options to find a quote unquote soulmate, but also, I don't think a lot of people know what love is anyway, so.
I think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think they do. I think it's just
everybody has a very skewed definition of love.
Yeah.
But like, it should be personalized, but I don't think it should skew.
I guess that just depends on your definition of personalized and skewed.
Whatever the dictionary says, Merriam-Webster.
No, I mean, like, it's whatever. Like, how do you decipher whether or not a person's definition of love is skewed or just personalized? What if
I think I would definitely say how they show it. I think you can tell somebody's definition of love is skewed for, like, by how you feel their love or how they show
I
you
used
their
to
love.
think that too, especially with my mom, but I learned that it's not that easy. And I think despite how my mom is and how she's treated me in the past, I don't have a doubt in the world that she loves me.
Okay, well, maybe let me say this like this. I don't. Maybe it's not even as much. Okay, just because they love you doesn't mean you feel the love. Maybe I'll frame it like that.
Just because they love you doesn't mean it's good love to have.
Sure.
Not everyone's version of love is the love that you want for yourself.
Yeah, skewed.
There's a lot of men who beat their wives, and I wouldn't say that's a version of love, but I wouldn't doubt.
But a lot of women are already talking about some. Oh, he did it because he loves me. So that's what That's what I'm saying.
I don't doubt that in that man's head that he does love them. That's the thing.
And they both are in love. I think with each other.
They're just psychopathic.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So to wrap it all up, we're gonna just go over the different bonds again. Okay, I'll start off with familial roles, and how they're basically anchored roles. Family pulls you backwards into roots and roles, which means that they keep you grounded. I feel like they kind of keep you, like, knowing your history, where you come from, your roots. They show you where you can go, not where you will go. That's how I feel about that.
I don't mean to get spiritual with it or anything. I think that there's just a level of energy that passes through those who you are blood related to. I think it's an energy that no one can doubt. I think it's something as simple as the fact that chest to chest is important with mothers after
skin to skin contact on newborns. Yes. Oh, baby.
Newborns. I've heard stories of newborns.
They said father and mother. Yeah.
I've heard newborns, stories of newborns who can't fall asleep unless they hear the heartbeat of their mother, and that they can tell the difference between the heartbeat of a random stranger.
Yeah, they can. I'm being in there for 9 months. You better be able to tell my heartbeat, baby.
Now, this isn't to take away from adopted family, of course, but I think also too it would be a disservice to not acknowledge the power of being blood related and the power of what courses through your veins, especially on the maternal line, which is what we want to.
Maternal to me is where lineage lies. I don't believe it lies in the paternal. Yeah, I will never. Also, I will never change my last name. That's a deal breaker for a lot of men. They think they have lineage.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm not marrying no man wants to change my last name.
I think what's funny too is like a lot of don't quote me on this. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I've heard this before about how a lot of our DNA gets passed through the maternal line, and that's how we're able to track it.
Majority of it is, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Through the mother and through their DNA and through what they got.
And your siblings too. After the first child, like they said, some of the, I'm not sure what the word
exactly,
is
but even then, what that comes from the maternal line. I think that the maternal. This isn't to take away from dads, but I think that the maternal line is very important, and I think, I think there's an energy in biology that isn't and shouldn't be understated, but it's not everything. There's also energy in trees, but it's not like we.
Yes, we need trees to breathe too, y'all. Please save the trees.
Okay.
Next, we have romantic bonds, which are more volatile as they pull you forward into possibility and risk. Like I said, it's all about the conditional. I think conditional love is probably seen the most in romantic relationships, definitely. Which I think is honestly valid as well. I think that's probably the place you want to see it the most.
Conditional love?
Oh,
I think all love is conditional, not gonna lie. But
I think that's very valid. But I think you probably get the least amount of grace with your partner.
I think you get the least amount of grace with your friends.
Really? You get the least amount of grace? I think your friends give you the most amount of grace.
Not in today's day and age where everyone is so quick to cut people off. I mean, I think about our friendships episode where we kind of talked about that. Where nowadays.
Oh, but I gave grace. 9 months? Shit. That whole baby could have been born.
No, I know. I just mean in general. Like, I think more people are more often, my man. Your man treats you like crap, but God forbid your friend says one thing out of turn and they're,
You're triggering me, stop.
See?
I'm triggered.
So I do think that if anything, love is conditional for all of them, but I think it's most conditional for friends. Second is relationships, and then finally family is third.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It is very volatile, and I think that
it's always high highs and low lows. Nobody ever wants to be like just cruising and sailing a little something slow. It's always Like, damn, y'all,
And I think with
that's not a healthy relationship.
It's not a healthy relationship too, but like we kind of touched on when we went on the tangent, I do wish more people kind of redefined what it meant to be um, in a relationship in the first place. I wish more people really prioritize just getting to know somebody rather than just getting to know somebody so they can get into
Everybody says friendship is the best base for a relationship.
But a friendship is, I don't know what friendship has been cultivated in 3 months, at least one that lasts. I've seen a couple, but honestly, I think I'm just a critic because I don't believe in love at first sight. I don't believe in those things. So maybe I am just a critic in that regard. But honestly, I do wish more people just took the time to genuinely court people like they used to.
Oh my gosh, y'all, yes. Oh my gosh.
You have phones nowadays and you have social media nowadays, so that the timeline.
I want to be like in Bridgerton. I want to be courted.
Right. But here's the thing, in Bridgerton, you want to know how long they're sitting here courting people? 9 months, and like they're courting people for a long freaking time.
Girl, bye. Those people were married in like 2 months. Who? No. Girl, I'm trying to be like the Bridgertons, not those people who couldn't get married. No shade. I'm not trying to be Cressida Cowper. I'm trying to be Daphne. Thank you very much. Talking about some 9 months.
But even then, I know that
she turned down a prince. She got a duke.
Didn't take a while. I know that didn't take a short time.
This season is like I don't know how long the season is in like Bridgerton, but I think Bridgerton is a couple of months. Like, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like the summer or something. I don't know.
I would search it up, but I don't feel like doing all that right now. I digress. Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to the whole thing of romance, I think it would be less volatile, like you said, if we just did more vetting. Guys, if you're meant to be, you're going to be meant to be regardless. God forbid you want to take a little bit more time.
Exactly.
You're going to be meant to be. And that's what I truly believe in, which is why I think I just look at things differently in that regard.
Period. And then friendship is seen as elastic. It holds you steady in the present. Yes, I feel like friendship is the bond that stretches the most and probably holds the testament of time. Like you said, I think people are more willing to, cut off their friends and come back and be like, oh, I'm forgiving her. And, a lot of people just go back and forth with their friends a lot. So that rubber band do be stretched out real wide when it comes to friendships. And it's like, okay, one more pull and that band is going to break.
But when they do it, it's wraps.
Oh, no. No, guys, love your friends, but love yourself more.
And that's the moral of the story. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Is Blood Thicker Than Water?
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed. Also, y'all, I was not crying at all in this episode.
It's just her allergies.
This is indeed the hay fever. I am suffering from hay fever, and I will be for a bit of time. But yeah, I hope this kind of gave you some clarity, some insight about friendships, relationships, family ships, and everything in between. Yes. And hopefully you kind of see the relationships you have in your life with a new perspective and kind of asking yourself the questions about the dynamics in your life and how you prioritize them or don't prioritize them.
Clock it.
So, yeah. Until next time, you guys, as always, like, follow, subscribe, all the stuff.
Yeah, bye.
Ciao.